Hi, welcome back to Sport on 7. I'm Tom Bushell. The Abu Dhabi Formula One Grand Prix is on this coming weekend. We'll round it all up after the Indian Grand Prix with all the big results in a moment. First, though, Chris McHardy is with me and we go through all the local sport for you. Such a busy time for sport internationally at the moment, but let's not forget to look within our shores here in the UAE because, of course, we have so much to look forward to in the next week or so. We'll get onto that in just a moment. Chris McHardy from Sport 360 with me once again. And last week, you may remember that he announced he had started going to the gym. So after that first session, how's it going, Chris?
Not very well, Tom. I've just been there once, as it was last week, and I've not been back. But I do intend to go back. As I say last week, you turning 30 has really inspired me to get to the gym. So I will be making sure that before the year is out, I am back there on a regular basis.
I thought you may have been going quite often because you've clearly not had time to iron the shirt. Anyway, right, Formula One to speak of in a moment. Start with the very sad news at Al Wasl Football Club, and we're talking Bruno Metsu. It really has been a tough time for the club and Bruno himself, hasn't it?
It's been a very sad week, Tom. The news this week coming out of the Zabil Stadium, Bruno Metsu has actually stepped down as Al Wasl boss. Obviously, we spoke about this last week. It was unconfirmed at that stage that he was suffering from cancer. Lucas Neal, the Wasl defender, admitted after last week's game against Ajman that Bruno is suffering from stomach cancer, and it's a very sad time for the club indeed. Obviously, Bruno replacing Diego Maradona just back in July, and he's had a wonderful start to life in Dubai. The 5 games, 2 wins, 2 draws, and just that solitary defeat, but you know, health comes first, and Bruno's taken the decision to step down so that he can concentrate on what we expect to be a long fight against, you know, an illness that is very serious indeed. So, you know, we wish Bruno very well in that fight, and you know, Wasl this week have said that they're saddened by the news. Obviously, Bruno, they had expected big things with the Frenchman in charge, and it's just a very, very sad time indeed for the club and everyone involved at Wasl.
And it doesn't seem like the right time to begin to move forward and look forward for Al Wasl, but a replacement will have to be found for Bruno Metsu, and already within days Diego Maradona's name is back in the frame, isn't it?
It is indeed, Tom. I mean, obviously, Diego Maradona, he spent that one season in charge at the Wasl. He was relieved of his duties, as we said earlier, back in July. There has been talk of Diego making an absolute sensational return to the Zabil Stadium. However, Wasl have been at pains to suggest that that's not the case, that Maradona, his time has come and gone at Zabil Stadium. Gilles Marusso, who has been Bruno Metsu's assistant for so long now at a number of jobs, he's been placed in charge, temporary charge. He's obviously had 2 wins in his first 2 games, and expect him to be in the hot seat until the end of the season.
Okay, well, we wish Al Wasl and, of course, Bruno Metsu all the best and a speedy recovery as well, we do hope for. Let's move on from the Pro League to a different form of football which is happening in the UAE. We're talking beach soccer. Dubai really has adopted beach soccer, which is growing all the time around the world, and the best teams in the world are here this week, which is fantastic. Brand new venue at Festival City, and it's the Samsung Intercontinental Cup Beach Soccer Tournament.
Yes, Tom, we're gearing up for that this week. It should be a wonderful event, as you said. 8 of the top teams in the world descending upon Dubai. UAE, they've been in action over the past few days. They've been taking on Russia, the defending world champions. Just warm-up matches ahead of the tournament. Of course, Russia in Group A alongside the UAE with Tahiti and the US. 2 defeats for Marcelo Mendez's side, but 2 narrow defeats at that, and against the world champions. That's giving them a lot of confidence heading into this tournament. A 4-3 defeat in their first game, followed by a 6-5 one, but everything's pointing towards a very good tournament indeed, and fingers crossed UAE can show, because they have been coming on, that you know, the improvements made. Marcelo Mendez, the Brazilian coach in charge since 2007, the improvements they're making every year on year and tournament by tournament suggest that they should have a very good tournament here.
And that tournament gets underway on the 30th and goes on until Saturday the 3rd. The finals happening on Saturday. Really is. There's a team from every continent, plus UAE is hosts, obviously. Switzerland, European champions, Russia, world champions, and Brazil always are going to be dangerous as well. So it should be a fantastic tournament. Also to look forward to in the next week or so, the Formula One is happening in Abu Dhabi once again. The 4th year of the Formula One circuit's coming to the UAE. Can't wait for that. And it's a great championship at the moment involving Alonso and Sebastian Vettel.
Well, Tom, the stage is set. Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, the 18th round of this year's championship, and it's exciting as it's ever been. As you mentioned, Vettel and Alonso, it's down to those two men. Of course, Alonso, bad memories of Abu Dhabi in 2010, remember, when he had the chance, the title was in his grasp, and obviously those errors from his pit crew led to Sebastian Vettel taking the championship, the German's first Formula 1 title. But it's all set up, it really is, and you look at it as well, you know, Fernando Alonso, he's in the driving seat alongside Vettel, and it's certainly going to be a wonderful, wonderful show. And obviously from there they go on to Texas and then finish off in Interlagos and Sao Paulo. Everything's set up to be a wonderful event, and fingers crossed that the fans turn out in force and enjoy Formula 1 next weekend.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out Sebastian Vettel absolutely loves Abu Dhabi. 2009 he won the race there. 2010, as Chris says, he won the championship, taking the title off Fernando Alonso. He never actually led throughout that season up until the last race, as it was then in Abu Dhabi. And then last year, 2011, Sebastian Vettel equalled Nigel Mansell's 14 poles in one season when he stormed to the front of the grid in qualifying last season. So Sebastian Vettel always there or thereabouts in Abu Dhabi. We'll see what we can get from him next weekend. Chris McHardy from Sport 360, thanks so much for joining me once again. Any gym sessions coming up this week?
No.
We'll see you again next week with all the roundup of local sporting activities in the UAE. Big results then of the last few days in sport. Let's start with the Indian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel dominated the race to take a fourth win in a row and extend his championship lead over Ferrari's Fernando Alonso. Mark Webber was holding off Alonso when he suffered a Kerr's power boost problem and the Ferrari swept by. Lewis Hamilton closed on Webber but had to settle for fourth ahead of McLaren teammate Jenson Button. This then is how the World Championship stands, with now 3 races remaining. Sebastian Vettel is now 13 points clear of Alonso coming into Abu Dhabi at the weekend. Still all to play for between those two. Kimi Raikkonen, who last drove in Abu Dhabi for his last Ferrari race in 2009, is on 173. Mark Webber on 177 and Lewis Hamilton on 165. Tennis now, and Juan Martín del Potro held his nerve in a final set tiebreak to beat a dogged but out of sorts Roger Federer in the final of the Swiss indoors in Basel. The Argentine outplayed the world number one in the opening set, breaking in the 5th game before taking it 6-4. Federer, however, seeking title number 6 at his home event, hit back in the second to win 7-5 in the tiebreak. Del Potro saw off 4 break points in the decider before taking control in the tiebreak to win it 7-3. Also in tennis, on the women's side, Serena Williams won her 3rd WTA Championship title with a 6-4, 6-3 win over Maria Sharapova in Istanbul. Williams did not drop a set all week, and Sharapova was unable to make much impact on the American serve. World number 3 Williams, who's 31, has now won 7 titles in 2012, including the US Open, Wimbledon and the Olympics. Golf now, and the BMW Masters in China. Peter Hansen resisted a late charge from Rory McIlroy to win the tournament in Shanghai by 1 shot. The 35-year-old Swede won ahead of the world number 1 overnight, held his nerve on the final hole to secure his 6th European Tour victory. Hansen led by 4 with 5 to play, but McIlroy eagled the 15th and birdied the 16th to ensure a nervy finish. That win for Hansen puts him 2nd on the race to Dubai. And on the US PGA Tour, American Nick Watney shot a final round 61 to take the Asia Pacific Classic from defending champion Bo Van Pelt. He came from 4 shots behind in Kuala Lumpur to end 22 under par and beat Van Pelt and Robert Garrigus by 1 shot. Tiger Woods carded a 63, his 2nd lowest round of the season, to finish joint 4th. A last hole birdie would have actually given Watney a 59, but he bogeyed it the day after Van Pelt dropped 2 shots there in the same position. Thank you very much for watching Sport on 7 this week. You can follow me on Twitter for sport across the region, at Tom Bushell UAE. Enjoy this week of sport, the MENA Tour final event in Al Ain. Do get down to the Samson Beach Soccer Intercontinental Cup as well at Festival City from the 30th until the 3rd. It is free. And of course, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the weekend. We'll be back next week. See you then. Goodbye.